not sure. I'm not sure that we have our regional director and Nigeria Council chairperson on the call, so we might skip that. But then, yeah, pretty much we will well meet our judges, the teams. I will introduce myself in a few seconds. Then we will go through the debate rules and judging criteria, and then we'll zoom straight into the quarterfinal. And then after we'll have the Q&A, and then we'll have an interlude. And at this point, the judges will be collating, their marks and doing their evaluations. And then we will continue with the judges' remarks, and then the scoreboard, and then finally announcements and votes of thanks. Right, so I will just skip this section. Oh, but just so you're aware, our SPE Africa Regional Director is in the person of Dr. Riverson Opong, and our SPE Nigeria Council Chairperson is Engineer Amina Damadami, well, PhD. So I guess that would be Doctor Engineer. Yeah, not much to say. Hopefully in the next round, we could have them on the call as well. Right, so meet our moderator, and that is essentially me. I am Christabel Ofori Atta. I'm a senior modeling analyst at the Energy Systems Catapult here in the UK, and largely work with the modeling team in delivering local area energy planning for various local authorities across the UK. And the goal is simply to bring these local authorities and align them with the the net zero goal and energy transition that is ongoing globally at the moment. I am I'm a member of SPE Ghana section, and it's my pleasure to moderate today's debates. Now, just a few debate rules. As you can see on the screen, time allocations. The lead debater of each team will have 5 minutes to make their point. The supporting debater, that's the next person to speak per team, will have 3 minutes, and the last debater will also have 3 minutes. And then in between their speeches or deliveries, once one debater is done, there will be a time for cross-examination, and that is expected to last 45 seconds for any clarifications or questions, and then another 45 seconds for answers or comebacks or more clarity. And just so we know, questions and answers are limited to judges only. And at the end, almost towards the end, when the judges are asking their questions, contestants, debaters need to remember that we have 45 seconds for them to answer their questions. So kindly keep that in mind. So at this point, I would also like to add that for all debaters, it is mandatory to have your videos on while speaking or defending your stance, essentially. And remember that uh, this is a debate that is supposed to help everyone. We're all here to learn. So we ask that, we keep everything going on smoothly, no ugly remarks, nothing like that. So let's just keep it professional and be an enabling environment for all. Yeah, pretty much. But just so at this point, I would also like to ask that or check that each debater has you in your name, like for your name, assign your section, and if you're the first speaker, second or third, kindly indicate that. And for our judges, just for easy identification, if you can assign well, your name and then maybe slash judge, just so it's easier to pick you. I know we know your names, but just it's just to make it easier to just pick you out if the need arises. Sweet. Okay. Um, Judging criteria today and has and as has always been, uh, debaters will be assessed on, the clarity of their submissions, their presentation skills, the quality of their speeches or the quality of their delivery and evidence. And just so, I mean, basically the persuasiveness of your defense, then the analysis, that's your ability to reason systematically, and then finally the relevance of whatever you're presenting to us to today's debate. So just as a reminder, please keep these in mind, and also for our judges, just to remind you that these are the criteria that our debaters will be assessed on. Right, so to the sweet part of it, let's meet our judges. So on our first judge is Miss or Mrs. I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, and then the pronunciation of the name as well. But we have Jocelyn Machevo Campiao. If you're on the call, could you just come on your video and just say hi?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm
Great.
not sure if you can see me now. Good afternoon to everyone. So you did it well. Christabel is Jocelyn Machivo Campião. That's who I am. I'm currently based in Mozambique, Maputo. So I'll keep it short.
Okay, great. Thank you. Just so we know you're here. I mean, you have an I don't know, like your profile. I was going through your profile and it took a lot to try to summarize it into this, but as well, she is an award-winning Mozambican energy professional with extensive expertise in oil and gas and mining industries, and she has worked with major global companies in both upstream and downstream sectors. She has occupied various roles as a result and has developed, essential skills such as asset or project management, business development, strategic communication, stakeholder management, local content, among others. And also as a Young African Leader Initiative Fellow, she participated in the first cohorts of Power Africa's Women in Africa Power in 2018. And currently, she's also the board member of the SPE Maputo section. She is passionate about knowledge transfer and building the next generation of leaders. This doesn't do her profile justice, but we're so excited to have you on today. Thank you so much for responding to our call. Next is Mr. Andrew Boama Sari. If you're on the call, I think you're on the call. Can you just give us a hi and come on video? Sorry, Andrea, you on the call? Oh, sorry, can you unmute?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, hi everyone. It's good to be here. I'm just trying to figure out how I can start my video. Um,
Oh, there you are. We can see you.
okay, all right. So yes, hi everyone. Super glad to be here, and very interesting topic. So I'm looking forward to listening to everyone, and also looking forward to giving some feedback. Thanks. I'll leave it there.
Great. Thank you so much for responding to our call, and Andrew. So Andrew is a climate and infrastructure specialist who has over 8 years of experience in renewable energy, climate policy, urban development, and project management. He is the infrastructure specialist for energy and urban development at the Swiss Embassy in Ghana and is also a co-founder of a renewable consultancy, Andem Solutions. And through, these roles, he manages and has delivered over $21 million energy projects, wow, significantly improving electricity access for more than 21,000 rural households. And as can be, well, he plays a pivotal role in advancing sustainable energy infrastructure and climate resilience initiatives, leading to low carbon economic growth across Ghana and Africa as a whole. Again, wasn't easy to summarize because there's so much more that he's been up to, but thank you so much for joining us today. And finally, to our last judge, Miss Ibioku Alabo. If you're on the, yeah, you should be on the call. Can you give us a hi and come on video so we see you? Sorry. I'm not sure. I know she was on the call earlier, but probably she will rejoin. But just so we know, Ms. Ibioku is a geoscientist at ExxonMobil, Nigeria, with about 9 years of professional experience. She provides formation, evaluation, technical expertise across different assets and opportunities at ExxonMobil. And because she's previously worked as a field engineer with Schlumberger, she has delivered surface and downhole well testing, planning, and data acquisition services across West Africa, significantly in reservoir characterization. And I mean, she's also well versed in operation geology, reservoir development, and production geoscience. So thank you so much for joining us, Ms. Ibioku, and agreeing to be a judge. Right. So I'm sure she once she comes back on, definitely she will be back on before the debate starts. But we'll just go straight and meet our teams. Right. So just as a reminder, this quarterfinal debate is between Uganda and Warri, and the topic is African governments should implement policies that reserve a certain percentage of leadership positions in energy and sustainability decision-making bodies for young professionals to drive inclusivity. Yeah, that's the word. And Uganda will be arguing for the motion, and Warri will be arguing against the motion. In that regard, we will just meet our teams. Right, so the team for Uganda, I guess can we have the first speaker from Uganda? Just,
Hello.
yes.
Hello, my name is James Lucas Etot. I work with Schlumberger as a field engineer. I'm happy to be here and share knowledge. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you too. Next speaker for Uganda.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Edgar Mtungisa. I am a research consultant with Inca Consults Denmark. Very proud to be here.
Great, thank you so much. Can we have the last speaker for Uganda?
Hello, everyone. I'm Nelubega Priscilla. I'm a data engineer with Xlog. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Next we will have, oh, sorry, before that, just, a bit about Uganda. Uganda is the heart of the Great Lakes region and cradle of ancient kingdoms like Buganda, Bunyoro, and Ankole. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but yeah, this is something to note. And Uganda is celebrated for its rich cultural mosaic, breathtaking landscapes, and deep-rooted traditions. Now, in the spirit of resilience and unity, we hope to see the team from Uganda, just prove that they are a rising force in Africa's story today. Awesome. Next, we will move on to the team from Warri. Can we have the first speaker from Warri?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bowe Boyemi. I'm a project engineer with ND Western. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Wani Chisom Esther, and I currently work with Coastal and Marine Areas Development Initiative. I'm happy to be here and share knowledge with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we have
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jonah Idiamangabara. I'm a project engineer with the Nigerian National Petroleum Company. Good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Great. So we are the third quarterfinal, but thankfully I just saw Miss Ibioku drop in. So can you just say hi to us as our third judge?
Hello, everybody. Ibioku Alawo is my name. I'm a geoscientist with ExxonMobil. I'm happy to be here as one of the judges for this quarterfinal.
Awesome. Thank you so much for, again, responding to a call to be a judge for today's debates. Right, so we will move straight into the debate. I guess let me give everyone about 30 seconds to readjust, get ready, and then we zoom straight in. Right. I hope that was enough time. And I'm sure the teams have had some time to prepare. So we are eager to hear you defend your stance today. So at this time, I will call for the first speaker from Uganda. And you will have 5 minutes to deliver your speech. Remember, please, you need to be on video. And once you're ready, let me know.
I'm ready.
Okay, so then your time starts now.
Honorable judges, colleagues, and future leaders, in July 2023, the world gathered in Geneva for the UN AI for Good Summit, a defining forum on artificial intelligence, robotics, and digital energy infrastructure. Countries like the UAE, Estonia, South Korea sent digital native leaders under 40, individuals fluent in technology, sustainability, and innovation. And Africa, we showed up, brilliant minds, deep experience. But as Quartz Africa's 2023 report observed, most of our delegation, men in their 60s and 70s, were disconnected from the technology shaping global energy futures. We weren't outsmarted, we were outpaced. And that, honorable judges, is the urgent heart of this motion. Because I speak to you not just as a debater, but as a 30-year-old Ugandan engineer in the energy sector, working daily on systems that will power this continent, yet decisions about the future being made without voices like mine in the room. So what is this motion really asking? It asks that African governments adopt policies that reserve a percentage of leadership positions in energy and sustainability decision-making bodies for young professionals, not because they're young, but because no one else is better positioned to drive the kind of innovation, urgency, and future-facing decisions that this sector demands. This isn't about replacing experience. It's about adding relevance. And why is this necessary? Because the status quo is not neutral. It's systematically exclusive. Today, Africa has the youngest population on earth. According to the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa's 2022 Youth Policy Report, over 70% of Africa's population is under the age of 35. Yet the average age of ministers and board-level leaders in the energy sector exceeds 55. So we are planning Africa's energy future without including the generation that will inherit the consequences. Let me be clear. We are not underrepresented. We are strategically sidelined. And that, my dear friends, comes at a cost. It means decisions are being made by people who, however experienced, are not native to the digital tools, the climate urgency, or the economic innovations that define today's energy world. So what then should we do? Research from the United Nations Youth 2030 Framework suggests that even a 15 to 25% inclusion rate in leadership teams can shift institutional culture and broaden policy horizons. Therefore, we should institutionalize youth inclusion not as an exception but as a rule. Because when you embed young professionals into government, you inject digital fluency, climate realism, and generational accountability. And this works. In Rwanda, young professionals sit on the oversight board of the Green Fund, and that fund is now one of the most agile climate financing institutions on the continent. In South Africa, the Presidential Climate Commission appointed the Youth Advisory Panel in 2022, comprised entirely of young professionals under 35, to shape national climate and energy transition strategies. This panel didn't just sit in meetings. They helped craft South Africa's Just Energy Transition Investment Plan, which secured over $8.5 billion in climate financing from international partners. So let's address what the opposition will say. They will say leadership should be earned, and we agree. But let's also agree that our current system is not a meritocracy. It's a seniority monopoly. This motion doesn't just hand out roles, it opens the gates to capable, qualified youth who would otherwise be locked out. Merit must be measured against access, and right now, access is the problem. They may say young professionals are not proactive, are lazy, are not aggressive enough. But again, the current positions are by appointment, and the youth are left to scrap for leftovers in a system that rewards edge and not merit. My dear friends, here is the deeper truth. Leadership is not about title. It's about legacy. And when you exclude young professionals from decision making, you don't just delay progress, you corrupt the handover. The decisions made today in energy and sustainability will outlive the very people making them. So who better to be at the table than those who will inherit the consequences? This is not a cry for inclusion, my dear friends. It's a demand for accountability, because exclusion isn't just unfair, it's irresponsible governance. Honorable judges, this is Africa's Apollo moment. We must bet on our young engineers, our young minds to power the future. When they write Africa's story of energy revolution, let it be said we chose wisely and we chose boldly. Because we don't have a youth problem, my dear friends. We have a gatekeeping problem. And this motion breaks those gates open. We proudly propose. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we will now have a 45-second period for any cross-examination that's from the opposing team to what the first speaker has put forth.
All right, thank you very much, Christabel, and thank you to our colleague from Uganda. So thank you for your speech, actually. So you've touched on something very, very interesting about the leadership and also prescribing 15 to 5% quotas for inclusion. So the question is, why only the youth? So if we do that for the youth, and what about women, tribe? How do we balance the quotas across all the groups? Because it's not only youth that are represented. Secondly, are we trying to change the system or exploit it? It's like the US government, instead of changing how things work, everyone goes there to appoint their own judges to buy cases. So should we be changing the lack of merit or trying to exploit it by making it now more entrenched? Please clarify this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Uganda, you have 45 seconds to respond to that.
Thank you very much, my colleague. First, I want to say we already have quotas in existence for women and other marginalized groups. And we're saying the youth are not an exception. We are trying to bring this so that we can get fresh ideas from the youth. We appreciate the current system, but we say energy is moving so fast, it requires people who are advancing at the same pace. You talk about why we shouldn't, why we can't just improve the system. Sometimes when a system is broken, the best way is to completely start a new system. This system has had so many years to thrive, and time and again, it has failed us. So today, we propose a new system, that is, give the youth a chance. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much. Now we will move to the first speaker from Warri. And you have 5 minutes. Are you ready to go?
Yes, I'm ready. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Okay, your time starts now.
Picture this. Mr. Ade is a 52-year-old patient presenting to the emergency room with strong headaches and general weakness. The doctor gives him ibuprofen and sends him on his way. Sadly, 3 days later, he passes away from an undetected brain tumor. Hold that thought. Good afternoon, esteemed judges, my colleagues from Uganda, and my ever-attentive audience. I am a YP from Warri section who is working towards becoming an energy leader myself and who values inclusivity as an important aspect. However, today, I am disagreeing thoroughly with my opponent's position that reserving leadership positions for YPs is the way to go about this. To my first point, remember Mr. Ade? He died because the doctor only administered medications for his symptoms without examining the root cause. In the same vein, reserving leadership positions for young professionals may feel like progress, but it merely treats the symptom without fixing the system that causes the underrepresentation problem in the first place. Leadership quotas will not offer long-term change because they overlook the deeper issues. What deeper issues, you may ask? Well, there is the lack of sufficient avenue to prepare the youth to hold power. You can't skip mentorship, internships, or fellowships and go straight to leadership. It simply doesn't work. As a Nigerian, the most prominent example of quotas is the reservation of 20% of university admission slots for the states classified as educationally less developed. According to a 2016 Guardian article, this was done to ensure uniform development across the country's educational sector. It's been over 25 years. And according to the same source, Nigeria still has exactly the same number of educationally less developed states because instead of improving access to primary and secondary education in those states, we provided quotas for university admission. Please, let us not do the same thing for African energy leadership. If we want to truly empower young professionals in energy and sustainability, we must fix the broken system, not just prescribe a quota and walk away. To my next point, even when quota policies succeed in putting young or underrepresented professionals in leadership seats, another issue emerges. Let's look through the data. A 2021 study in the Journal of Economic Psychology found that people placed in leadership through quotas were more likely to doubt their own performance, attributing success to the system and not their skill. In South Africa's mining industry, a 2024 study in the African Journal of Gender, Society and Development reported that women appointed through quotas were often mocked, treated like placeholders, and forced to work harder just to earn basic respect. A study featured in Frontiers in Psychology revealed that students perceived female academic quotas as unfair and even derogatory. Another study covered by Harvard's Gender Action Portal revealed that women promoted via quotas in peer-reviewed environments faced sabotage, especially from other women. These are not isolated sentiments. They are proof that when leadership is handed down by law and not earned through merit, what follows is not confidence, it's skepticism, resentment, and sometimes even self-doubt. Because here's the truth. If you need a quota to get in, the room starts to wonder if you deserve to be there. And worse, sometimes, so do you. This is easily a recipe for poor leadership. Moving on. My colleagues from Uganda may still want us to institute age-based quotas because they want to achieve inclusion quickly and close the representation gap. To this, I say, great. Why stop there? We might as well have quotas for gender, ethnicity, disability status, educational background, and all the other underrepresented groups. Or do these groups not deserve inclusion too? You see, If you follow this idea to the logical conclusion, you end up with a situation where inclusion is lazily driven by checkboxes without fostering any real change for the marginalized populations. Take, for example, Norway. In 2003, they instituted a 40% gender representation mandate on the boards of public companies. While this reform brought women into boards, a 2019 study published in the Review of Economics Journal details how this reform has had no effect on the growth in numbers and pay of women in every other cadre of the affected companies. In fact, the only women who have measurably benefited from greater female representation on boards are the female board members themselves. This is not true inclusion. Please, let us not do the same thing for African energy leadership. If we want to truly empower young professionals in energy and sustainability, we shouldn't reserve seats. We should build ladders. In closing, I urge us to choose substance over shortcuts and merit over metrics, because at the end of the day, the goal is not to be young in leadership. The goal is to be good at it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for that submission. We will have 45 seconds for any clarifications, questions during this cross-examination period.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Ball. First, I'd like to say, you mentioned mentorship, and I'd like to say mentorship is essential, but mentorship without access is just a waiting room. Young people have been mentored for decades, and yet decision-making bodies still remain closed. So we are not saying stop mentoring, we are saying start trusting. Leadership is best earned when it's practiced in real high-stakes environments, not just observed from the sidelines. And Mr. Ball, you mentioned that you yourself want to be an energy leader someday. Could you please tell us how many years do you think you need to be mentored under the so-called old age wisdom before you're ready to take on that mantle? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we will have a response to this.
Thank you very much, James. That was a good question. So your question on mentorship. If you have access without preparation, you have a disaster. You are not ready for leadership. Preparation meeting opportunity is what gives good leadership. Mentorships, fellowships, internships, they prepare us. When you are good enough, these doors will open up to you. If you think these doors won't open up to you, you should fix the problems that causes these doors to not open, rather than prescribe quotas that treat only the symptoms without solving the root causes of the problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Right, so to the second speaker from Uganda. Your time, are you on video?
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Okay, I can see you now. So your time starts now.
Okay, Chair, thank you so much. We think we have about two problems in this debate. Firstly, we think Warri team tried to be a doctor, but then they became a very bad doctor. We tell you, Chair, that there is a worse doctor than the one who just doesn't give nice prescription, but a doctor who repeatedly gives you wrong medicine. They say that the young people don't have mentorship. We tell you those are just failed solutions. We have lots of platforms that have been giving young people mentorship and all this experience and internships. Talk about the Open African Power Program by NL Foundation that has already empowered over 200,000 young people in the continent. Talk about the usual SPE mentorship program that we all must be or could be aware of. So therefore, the claim that there have not been such spaces is a very wrong one, but also to further describe that hasn't solved the problem, we think that makes you a very bad doctor. Chair, there was also a claim on what we're going to do for all those different like people talk about the women and all this. Chair, this debate is not about being the Jesus Christ that we are here to save everybody. This debate is particularly about energy sector, and we tell them that the youth are not just some boys. The youth include women, the youth include refugees, the youth include all these different spaces. So there is no any point that you're trying to raise within that. We think they had a very redundant case, Chair. We are very proud to propose. So what do I tell you in my speech? I tell you, Chair, that we have proven track record of success of our model, where we tell you that, as James already mentioned to you, Chair, that the problem we face is systematic, right? It is systematic in about 3 categories. Legally, where you have all jobs trying to call for about 15 plus years of experience to join different boards, or where you have political appointments by octogenarian presidents who are largely on the continent of Africa, trying to appoint their fellow octogenarian executive directors. And that systematically puts out the youth, not because they're young, but even when they're qualified, they are systematically put out by that. And we are telling you, Chair, that the only response you can have to such a system that is intrinsically broken is for you to have a quota system, because only then can you curtail the power of these octogenarian governments, and because they're now bound and cut by law, that even when they love their octogenarian EDs, they just cannot appoint them because the law has already given room, prescribed room for the young professionals who have proved that they have able to be doing these things. And Chair, we gave you examples that the young professionals have given you track record of experience. Talk about the examples in Rwanda, where you saw 50% increase in renewable energy projects just because of the 30% increase in terms of quotas in the parliamentary seats. So the evidence is clear all over the continent, and this is why we think this is the best solution. Moreover, Chair, they say Africa continent is the youngest. We think the same should be reflected within their energy leaders. We are very proud to propose.
Great. Thank you very much. And now we will have 45 seconds for any questions or clarifications from Warri.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your speech. First, you claimed mentorship hasn't worked, or it's a failed solution. But here today, amongst our judges, we have Jocelyn, who is a fellow of the Young African Leaders Initiative, YALI, and also part of the first cohort of Power Africa's Women in Africa. And she is here today because those opportunities have helped her grow through the system and would continue to help her. If you think our solution has failed, how do you measure the success of your quotas? At what point would you deem it successful enough to repeal the mandates? Or is it not solving any real problems? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your time starts now.
Chair, our response is very simple. Our success is not about Jackie being part of this yearly fellowship. Our qualification of success is if this Jackie who has passed through this fellowship is now the president of SPE, right? So that's what we say, that it's not enough just to stop at mentorship because we've already gotten that. We tell you that we have had enough of mentorship and we think we need more of leadership. This is what the young people deserve, not always consistent vicious tokenism that has always crippled them through the chains of mentorship. You cannot be a career student or a career mentee. There has got to be a time for you to lead, and we say this is the time for these young professionals to lead.
Thank you very much. Okay, so next we will have 3 minutes for the second speaker from Warri. Kindly come on video.
Kindly confirm you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. And I'm sorry. Okay, I can see you now. Your time starts now.
All right, standing on already existing protocol. First of all, we cannot appoint a professor by just saying, oh, we appoint you a professor. There are stages you must go through. Firstly, we are gathered here today because SPE acknowledges young professionals. And so they have set up the YP Forum, the Emerging Leaders Alliance, programs designed not just to hand us leadership, but to prepare us for it. SPE did not mandate quotas to empower us, but rather they built capacity and gave us visibility. That's what real inclusion looks like. I am Warri Esther, and I'll be building on the compelling points raised by my teammates. Quotas have unintended consequences. They tend to attend to symptoms instead of systems. Now, going to the second point, let's talk about fairness. Quotas tend to exclude someone. They tell a capable individual that he or she is not merited for such position that is handed to them. And that is not division. That is not inclusion. That breeds division. Now, according to the gender economy report, it shows that now some of the quotas that was set up was not meant to empower young people. They were meant to rather cause division, and these quotas breed resentment. And we know that true leadership cannot be based on animosity. Now, going further, we talk about energy and sustainability decision making, and we know that this has an intersection between politics and industry. Now, to even gain political ground, you need access, you need influence, and most of the times, financial backing. Now, if we create quotas in such a system, who exactly are we empowering? Is it the young individual in the rural areas who is passionate about mini grids, or the young engineers with ideas but with no godfather? We all know who these quotas are meant for. The privileged few, the young individual who have access, who have backing to be able to get this opportunity from themselves. Thereby, we build revolving doors around privileges and call it inclusion. How can you say that is inclusion? Now, going further, the US-based review, we see that 86% of Black students, for a program created for Black students that are of low income, we see that it is usually dominated by people in middle income or high income class. Why is that so? Going further, we see that in order to make our systems more inclusive, we have to start from the bottom up. We have to train our people. We have to give them mentorship that better prepares them for leadership positions. Now, I will repeat what my colleague has said earlier. Let us build ladders and not reserve seats, because the goal is not to be young in leadership, but to be good at it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now 45 seconds.
Thank you. Yes. So, Chair, we have a question here. That Esther and sorry about that. So, Chair, now that we all agree that these young people need training, and Esther and I have given you examples that this training has been happening, is it your claim, therefore, Esther, that we should continuously train, or is it your claim that we should advance, that when these people are trained, they should now be given the chance to lead, as how we're advocating today?
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, can you see my screen? Oh, can you see me?
Yes.
Yes. All right, thank you. So to respond to his question, the training have been working, evidenced by people who have gone through these pipelines and ended up in leadership. You are proposing something which we have abundant evidence, quotas. They have unintended consequences and many times do not work. You fail to examine these unintended consequences of the system you are proposing to replace what currently exists. Why don't we bolster what currently exists as opposed to introducing something which is evidenced to be faulty? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we will move on to the last speaker from Uganda. Kindly.
Okay.
Yes, so your time starts now.
Honorable judges, distinguished guests, and fellow Africans, picture walking into an energy boardroom and seeing the faces that actually look like our future. Over 60% of us are under the age of 35, bringing fresh ideas, dicta fluency, and urgency this sector really demands. Instead, time and again, the same senior faces call the shots. We can change that by reserving seats for our young professionals, and we have shown you why this is both just and urgent. Now, just have shown you that young people truly live and breathe technology. And studies have shown that diverse teams, including the youth, we're not replacing the old, we are including the youth, and they score up to 25% higher on innovation. For example, in South Africa, when they just added up a quote of their under 35 voices to the energy advisory boards, there are projects that used to drag on, now have steadily wrapped up 30% faster. Now, this is the kind of agility our continent needs if we are going to tackle climate and energy changes head on. Edgar further outlined the consequences of this exclusion, how sidelining the youth weakens the innovation, adaptability, and resilience. Therefore, we should stop bleeding our continent dry of the talent. And right now, as I speak, 70% of our energy graduates are leaving the continent because they're not seeing the pathway. But Rwanda has tried something different. They have reserved 20% of their seats on the Green Energy Fund for the young professionals. And guess what? The retention jumped from 45 to 85%, 68%. And then the climate financing has also increased by 30%. And now this shows you that young leaders, when they see real opportunity, they're going to stay in their countries, they'll pour their blood, sweat, and tears into their communities and build them. Now let us talk about trust and accountability. Only 29% of Africans trust their public agencies. In Ghana, after they guaranteed 15% of the youth representation, we have seen that policy rollouts have moved 40% faster, and public satisfaction has really nearly doubled. So the youth, the young professionals, as we are saying, if they're in these bodies, they ask tough questions. They demand for the transparency. They keep everyone honest. Now, when they want that they lack experience, we're not saying we're random appointments. You're talking about rigorous appointments, fellowships, competitive selections, hands-on training. These youths have earned their seats and they deserve them. Honorable judges, the choice before you is not a matter of goodwill. It's a clear-cut strategic imperative. By embedding the voices of the youth into our energy leadership, we unleash the very innovation that we need. We are forging the next generation of decision makers. We're restoring faith in the public institutions. Anything less will be a missed opportunity. Let us ensure that those who will shape Africa's energy future are sitting right now on the tables. Let us join hands as the youth and we make the right decision, make Africa great again, because these decisions are going to affect our next generation. They are going to ask us, where were we when Africa is being left behind? What were we doing when these decisions were being made? For an inclusive, dynamic, and resilient Africa, we proudly and passionately affirm this motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Right, so 45 seconds.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for that speech, Priscilla. So quick one. I think it would be very good to make it very clear to us all that correlation is nothing as causation. So two correlations that she has done here. The extra funding to green funds was not because they had youths. It's because globally there is an increase in funding for green projects, except we want to point that in every country that we haven't increased money because of youths in green fund and climate change, because there's economic agenda going on. Secondly, you said youths got into South African energy boards and projects got delivered faster. Is that in the same country where we have an increase in load shedding and blackouts? Because that claim does not really correlate with the current happening in South Africa. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your submission. We're saying yes. It's not only about the green energy. We're talking about the studies that I've done, that you are seeing that when they added like 30% of the youth, the unimplemented study by the UNBP of 2024 attributed this growth of 30% to the inclusion of the youth. Secondly, we're not only having Rwanda, we're having Morocco. Their wind energy output increased by 22% when they added more youth. We're not even talking about Africa alone. Let's go to Taiwan. When they mandated in 2019, the Energy Act of the Youth for funding for the youth, we are seeing that that time, the youth, the 50% are in research and development for all the energy policies were approved. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So now we will go on to the last speaker from Warri. And okay, your video is on, so your time starts now.
Right, thank you, Christabel. In a world where we're seeing affirmative action causing chaos in different countries, Our Ugandan friends want to convince us that we should bring in destructive quotas into the energy space. But before I go on, my name is Jonathan Mangabara. I work in projects, and I would not like something that's important as our energy future to be sacrificed on the altar of enforced quotas. To begin, let's go to the Ugandans are here. 30 years of enforced quotas for women in parliament, yet less than 10% of the free seats are covered by women. All right. What we've seen in Uganda is that we have been solving the symptom and not one. People always exploit quotas. What you would have here is this: a youth will get in there as a youth rep and will stay there to advance his or her own career, not minding what concerns the youth. That is the selfishness we have seen across many leadership groupings in Africa. So how do you address that? Then again, the Ugandans did not mention what we expected. They would have said youth bringing fresh ideas, which I'll say, yeah, very good. Fresh ideas, good perspective, yes. I have some very good ideas about how to solve Nigeria's security problem. Does that make me qualified to be the army chief? No, it doesn't. And this is where a synergy is required between the old and the new. And we've been hammering on leadership and leadership. That is, the old bring their experience and teach the youths how the system works. When you understand the system, then you can change it and not cause chaos. Right? Now, moving on, we go over to the issue of inclusion. It's a good thing to have, yes, inclusion. Yes, we understand that, inclusion. But are we trying to have inclusion for the sake of inclusion alone, or totally cause a change? We actually want leaders who are competent enough to drive the change this continent needs. That should be our focus, changing the root causes, not just ticking boxes. So we'll move on. How do we address this? We've already said this severally, that instead of having a quota which does not work, let us look at how we can get more collaboration between the old and the new, how we can create systems for mentorship, for internships, for fellowships, how we can ensure that young leaders get that experience, just like the SPE platform here, that's training leaders for the future. That is how we can be sustainable, and we cannot change without merit. All across Africa, we have a problem with merit, and the lack of merit is at the root of many of our backward states across Africa. Now, to conclude, let me take us back to something my colleagues have said earlier, that we should build ladders, not reserve seats. Very important, because at the end of the day, it is better. What we need is not just to be young in leadership, but to be good in leadership. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. And now to our final cross-examination period. We have 45 seconds.
Yes, yes. The opposition is really wanting to stay hardlining on opposing the mission. Now they should tell us, how do you justify sidelining the rural tech survey youth when the model, your model that you're presenting, has failed to produce a single homegrown distributed energy pilot? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Priscilla. So now, to be clear, your position is not backed by facts. We have many of the most innovative, energy-focused at the energy space that are led by youth. So it's not true to say that we've not had these groups or companies that are manned by youth. I think that's not correct. What we are saying here is this: you said tech-savvy youth. At the end of the day, you just made our point. The youth that we get in are not the guy with the ideas in the village. It will be the guy who comes from a rich home, the guy who has had the chance to go study in the UK, the guy whose father is a politician, who is able to get him in. And we just entrench a new system of elite leadership, not leadership. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, I will ask. Never mind, I was able to mute the person, but just to ask that if you are not speaking, please mute your mic. Great, thank you so much for the submission. And now, I guess it's time for questions from our judges. So I guess I'll give us the next 10 seconds for our judges to be ready, and then we'll go straight on to questions. Ms. Jocelyn will be starting with you. So whenever you're ready in the next few seconds to ask your questions to each team.
All right. Thank you so much. And congratulations to both teams for presenting such insightful propositions. So I'll go straight to the question. So to the Uganda team, one of the issues that has been broadly mentioned is the one on merit versus seniority. So my question is, how would you ensure that the reserved positions are actually filled based on merit and not just age? Could this not lead to a tick-the-box approach to inclusivity? So we want the focus to be on the real impact and on the leadership quality. So how would you ensure that?
Thank you for your question to Uganda. So Uganda, you have the next 45 seconds.
Yes, Yes, thank you very much. First, thank you for your question, dear judge. First, we propose that we will have rigorous vetting systems. This policy is designed with clear eligibility criteria, qualifications, experience, and sector relevance. Just like the women quotas are now tied to merit-based lists in many countries, so too can youth reservation be safeguarded by transparent vetting and independent oversight mechanisms. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ms. Jocelyn, if you have your next question to Warri.
Thank you so much, Uganda, for the answer. I'm going to move now to the Warri team. So if not through the quota system, how do you actually address the structural barriers, the ones that actually prevent the youth participation in leadership without this policy intervention?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that question, Jocelyn. So I think first of all is to look at how do we select leaders? I think addressing the selection process is at the root of it. So for example, I work in a place where in the past you got up based on how long you've been in the position. And then the company came and said, you know what? They will say, we have this post open. If you feel qualified for that post, apply for it. Now, if you can force that kind of a system, what you end up getting is that the best compete for those positions. And then it gives everybody a driver. So that for us is much more important, all right, way of addressing this. And also because without that, quotas would just get exploited by those that already have access.
Great. Thank you very much for your answer. Next, we will move on to our second judge, Mr. Andrew. Your first question to the Uganda team. Sorry, we can't hear you. No.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. No, thank you very much for a very good debate. For my question for the Uganda team, so clearly it's been talked about people getting in without merit if you have to reserve quotas for the youth. And you try to touch on how you're going to do that. But you mentioned that you have a verification process, which will be, I guess, overseen by the older people that you're trying to oust. So who is going to be in charge of this verification? Is it going to be the youth themselves, or is it going to be other older um, um, or senior members in your country? Thanks.
Thank you very much for your question. So Uganda, you have the next 45 seconds.
Yes, thank you so much, Judge, for that question. So we are not just trying at the discriminate sort of application of this policy. So that is to say, if there is a team that chooses a particular energy leader, that team also has got to have the youth on that team. So it has to be a whole overhaul of the entire like sort of policy at all different levels. So yes, It will be a mixture of boards where there's old people, but also young people that will be choosing these young people, something like that. Because also, like we emphasized, this is not just about having the young people rule over. It is about having quotas so that the young people can work together with the older people with also the experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now for your second question.
Okay, thank you very much. To the Warri team, my question is when it comes to clean energy and AI, we see that a lot of the technology coming out there is very new, it's novel. So this talk about mentorship. I think if you look at the system now, for every new technology you need, everyone has to learn it, from the start, right? So for me, my question is, how do you see older people being able to train young people on such new technologies coming out? Do you think that is a feasible approach? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Andrew, for that question. And I would respond to this. I just wrote down something as you were speaking. So in Nigeria, as an example, the tech industry came up and we had Andela, we had CC Hub. They were bodies that were founded by young Nigerians who had the advantage of having been abroad for a while, right? So when we say training, we're not saying that it has to be training by someone within in the 70s, all right? It's training by someone who has more experience than you in that field. Now, even for the old, AI is based on maths models and the likes. Some of the best maths modelers are professors of mathematics and the like. So you still need to have a blend. The old will train, but the recent young will train the more. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your answer. Great. And now we move on to our last judge, Ms. Ibioku.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Not just on the camera. Right, thanks to all the speakers so far. So I would ask the Uganda team the first question. The proposal for the Uganda team is for the youths to take over leadership at this point. So the question I have is that, are there any systems that are currently in place that would ensure that the leaders are actually ready to take on the responsibility of leadership, or they'll just sit down there and get handed leadership positions without actually having all of the necessary tools to get onto leadership? Is there any proposal from your end?
Great. Thank you for your question. And Uganda, you will have 45 seconds.
Yeah, there are already systems in test. So we're proposing the independent civil society organization. You have like SPE right now, the academia, the industry representatives. We're also proposing blind shortlisting, where people do not put their names, their schools, their registrations. We're only focusing on proposals and competences of these candidates, and also a parliamentary committee that audits the panel decisions annually to ensure that there is fairness and the people that have been chosen are the right candidates. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, to your second question, Warri.
So to the Warri team as well, similar question. From the topics you spoke about and the points you raised, it seemed like you were leaning towards meritocracy rather than having a niche of individuals taking on leadership positions. And so the question that I want to ask is, what are the metrics in place to actually track meritocracy? I know one of your speakers mentioned that he worked in a place where people actually get moved based on the number of years, the time they had spent in a particular position. So how do you think that these can be managed on a bigger scale to ensure that you're just not letting youths or people who you think have the pain to deal with to solve the problem, but you actually put in people who are able to solve the actual problem?
Thank you for your question. 45 seconds to Warri.
All right, thank you very much. Sorry. So, to your question, I think when we say merit, now, clear criteria would be education, would be the actual work you've done. All right. So not just I have worked in this place for 5 years, but in that 5 years, what did you do? How can you demonstrate competence? It's just the same way companies select people for jobs. I mean, at that low level, where you say, okay, now you demonstrate what you've done, and based on what you've done, we can see skill sets that kind of predict that you have leadership acumen that would help you in future. I think that would be a very good way to choose leaders for youth.
Great. Thank you so much to everyone, to our judges for their questions, and to the debating teams for your submissions, and then to your answers to those questions. So at this time, the judges will now proceed to the evaluation of results. So I will just create the breakout room for the judges, and then for the rest of the participants, I guess this is an interlude period. To kindly give us a few minutes, and then we will be back with the results. So hello everyone. So just in this interlude period, just show a couple of videos of what SPA Africa region has been up to in the last few weeks, days, weeks, and months. So just let me know if you can see my screen, and hopefully if you can hear. So we are super excited today. We are coming all the way from Abu Dhabi to Dar es Salaam.
يا مرحبا استعمل فنجانك. From the heart of Dar es Salaam, APC 2025.
Right, so I think we will have our judges joining shortly. They have um, gone through the evaluation process. All right. Oh, yeah, someone did put in the comments as heartbeat. Yeah. So, okay. So we will have our judges joining us shortly. I think the evaluation process has been concluded. And so we will proceed with judges' remarks. Um, okay. All right, just confirming that our judges are actually in the room. Okay. And yes, awesome. So our judges are back with us. And so now we'll proceed with the judges' remarks. Can we have, I guess, our first judge, Ms. Jocelyn, can you give your feedback on how the teams have performed?
Yes, sure. Once again, congratulations to both teams. Thank you for your passion, for your preparation, and for your professionalism today. I know it's a hard topic, and there is no right or wrong answer, but both teams actually stood very well. So I was quite impressed with the well thought out arguments that were presented by both teams, how you demonstrated the understanding of all the dynamics in terms of political, social around the youth inclusion. I was quite pleased as well to see the different examples that you presented, both Uganda and the Warri team. Some of the things that I wanted to point out is that, of course, I mean, in terms of the structure of the arguments, both teams were very, very well. They started off, very well with the first speakers, but then I felt that, as we were rushing through the sequence, the last speakers were a bit on a rush, and it seemed that they wanted to just get it done. One of the points that I wanted to highlight as well is the way that the Warri team was actually able to, to question the Uganda team, and the way the Uganda team was able as well to, to again present the arguments and sustain the position. In terms of teamwork, I think I felt a bit more of teamwork from the Uganda side, a bit let down on the Warri side. But again, you both did well in terms of adherence to time. You managed very well your time. You kept the time. All the speakers kept the time. So yeah, that's it. It was a very high quality debate, and each of the teams actually brought valuable insights to the table. And congratulations again to both teams. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your feedback, Ms. Jocelyn. Next, we will have Mr. Andrew.
Hi, everyone. Yes. No, I must congratulate all of you. I think this was a very tough discussion. And I see that both teams did a lot of research, very good research. They brought out points which I was not even expecting. So really good on that for both of you. I think for the Ugandan team, I think clearly you see where the issues are. I don't think I have to point it out. Then the Warri team did well to point it out, and I think also with the question I asked, that withstanding, I think you guys really did well with the data. And when we talk about inclusivity, you brought it out really clearly. That just the percentages on the average youth age, the average age of Africans, and then versus those in leaders. I think that was a very good data to bring out for Warri team as well. Really, you guys had a very strong point. Like I said, you brought out points which I wasn't expecting. The only issue I had was with the teamwork as well, where it clearly looked like only one person was really doing the counter argument, right? But very good points, and also critical points about how to avoid nepotism and quotas being reserved for a certain class of people, and how do you overcome that. So that's also very good that you brought that out. And congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, our final judge, Ms. Bioku.
All right, not to re-echo what the previous two judges have said, but appreciation goes to all of the debaters from both sides, the Uganda side and the Warri side. I can only imagine the amount of work that went into putting these points together and even putting them out to deliver the way you have done. I liked that, especially the Uganda team came up with numbers, statistics, to buttress their points, and they were actually relatable statistics. So kudos to the team, the organization, the structure, the introductions. I loved the introductions from each and every one of you. I like the way you got us engaged before you went into the meat of the presentation. So big ups to all of you. The delivery, I think, was good, except for one or two speakers who had a lot of interludes and breaks in the flow of your arguments. The refutal and rebuttal was interesting, the way you came at each other based on the points that had been delivered, and still maintaining the quorum within this place, not using derogatory words, but delivering your message nonetheless. And the responses to those two, I was impressed, because those were supposed to be on the spot responses. So congratulations to all of you again. For the teamwork and collaboration, just like the other judges have said, I felt it was lopsided with the Warri team. It seemed that only one person had the ability to respond to counter arguments from the Uganda side. And so I'd like to encourage the participants in future, or any other one who has intentions of getting on such a debate, to work together as a team and not let just one person carry the entire team. I mean, a team comprises of everybody else, so put in your own bit to it. Generally, I think everyone did great. Congratulations to you. The topics are quite sensitive, or the topic is quite sensitive, and then being on the other side of the divide is not as easy as you would think it is. So well done to everyone. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much, and congratulations to both Uganda and Warri, like the judges have said. And so without further ado, I will proceed to what the scoreboard says. So after a very tough and engaging match, the judges assessed both teams and have come out with the following scores. So for Uganda versus Warri, these are the scores. And by this, the Uganda team got 78%, and the Warri team 73.5%. And so at this time, it is my pleasure to announce Uganda as the winner of this debate. And so at this time, the Uganda team, you have 30 seconds to come on. online, just express something to us. The Uganda team with us.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the support. We are very excited to take this home. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much. And also the Warri team, we would like you to say something. It's been you have brought, your Arsenal fought a
Thank
very
you very much.
fight.
It was a beautiful debate. It was a real challenge, and we are really grateful. I won't say I'm surprised about the outcome, but Warri put up a really hard fight. So I hope we can be much better for the upcoming debate, because I think it's going to get tougher just from what I see from the Warri side. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Warri, anything to say to us?
Yeah, thank you very much. In the spirit of teamwork, I'll be doing this vote of thanks. So thank you to the Uganda team. This was a wonderful experience. We hope to come back stronger next year. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Warri, for taking the feedback of our judges in your stride. I think, yeah. So again, thank you so much to both teams. Just a few announcements. So this was the last quarterfinal round. And so the next round will be the semifinal. And we will start with Benin City versus Ghana. And this will happen in 2 weeks. That's on the 14th of June. So just keep that in mind and add it to your schedule as early as possible. And then for the next match, well, Uganda is proceeding to the semifinal. Congratulations to them. Now the next team that will proceed to the semifinal and will go up against Uganda will be announced later, because we are given the opportunity for one team that may have lost but has acquired enough points to lead the ranking of losing teams. And so once the debate committee will go through each and every team's points and put together, the ranking, and then announce the team or the losing team that will move to the semifinal. So Warri, this may not be the end for you, even though you may have lost the debate. So just keep that in mind and watch out for the announcement. And so now just something to say, Wale, if for any vote of thanks. Are you able to speak?
Hi, Christopher, please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Thanks everyone for joining, and it's been a long ride. I think this is the 8th match of this competition, of these debates. We've had a couple of sessions, I think over 10 hours of combined learnings. So it's great to be here, and also a huge thanks to our judges for joining. Some of them we had very short notice, but you were still able to come around and speak and listen to the arguments and also give very constructive feedback. So thank you once again. And for our debaters, thank you for the Uganda section. Thank you for the Warri section. And for the Team Uganda, we're rooting for you for the next round. We are sure that you always bring your A-game. For the Warri section, this is not the end. Definitely maybe for next year, sure you're going to bring in more power, more energy, and it's actually great to have everyone on the call for this debate. So thanks to everyone and to the leadership of the SPE Africa region for ensuring that we have the sections represented week in, week out. We are grateful for that support, and we are looking forward to the other rounds. Just 3 matches to go. We have the semifinals for next 2 weeks, and that's the last round that will be done virtually. And afterwards, the finals will be held in NICE in August this year in Lagos. So we're expecting to see everyone as much as possible, and look out for the information and the publicity from our team, because we have quite some exciting activities from young professionals. So I'll say thank you for joining and really appreciate it. Please enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. And not much to say. Thank you and have a good, well, day wherever you are. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.